Hello there, this is Anthony Johnson, and the premise of this video is to discuss cross-apply. Cross-apply is a function, or I should say a feature inside of SQL Server that allows you to inner join on a table value function. So as you see on the screen, we have three tables pulled up. So what we're going to do for this example is we're going to join these two bottom tables, which is order details and orders. We're going to get the total sum of sales by each employee. We're going to encapsulate that inside of a table value function. And then we're going to cross apply it to this employees table to get their name. And then we're going to add a parameter as well to the table value function. So we can just specify which employee we would like to see. So now let's do a Control R to drop our result set pane, and let's start building our table value function. So do create function, and we'll just say TOT for total sales by imp. And then we'll give it a parameter, which is at imp ID. Give it we have to specify the data type, so we'll say int for integer, and go underneath returns table as return, put our open and close parentheses, then we're going to go inside of it, give it a little space so we can write this so it'd be a little legible. We're going to do select from orders, give that an alias of O, inner join, or you could just put join, but we're just going to do best practices, so we'll say inner join. Order details OD on O dot order ID equals OD dot order ID. Because on your on clause, it has to be a common column, but I'm sure you guys know that already. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do O, which is the orders table, employee ID, and then we're going to do sum, because the total sales, well, the sales are inside of the order details table. So we're going to do OD dot unit price, because we're going to multiply the unit price times the quantity. So OD dot quantity, and that's going to give us our total sales price. So we'll say as total sales amount, because we're using a sum, and we're grouping by the employee ID because we have a aggregate inside of our select list. So we'll do group by employee ID. Okie dokie. So now that looks good thus far, but we have this parameter here. So let's put the parameter in the word clause to give us the ability to just pull up an individual employee and see how many total sales they have. So we'll do where O dot employee ID, because you know the employee ID is stored in the orders table. So we'll do equals at imp, hold on. Oh man. So OD dot, sometimes that tends to happen. So it jumped up a section. So back to the where clause. O equals employee ID equals at imp ID, which is our parameter right here, located here. And now we are set. Let's put our semicolon there, and let's go ahead and F5 that to execute that. So now we have our function, and now let's work on this cross apply. So we're going to do select from employees. We'll give it an alias of E. And then we're gonna go up underneath and do cross apply. Now we have to mention our table value function, which is right here. We have to put our parameter in here, which we're going to take the parameter. So the matching parameter and or the matching column, which is similar to the on clause, we're going to do e.employee ID, because that's what it takes. It takes the emp ID, and it was specially tailored towards this situation. So essentially, you have to specify your parameter if you're going to do a cross apply, and it has to be from the other table, from the actual table that you're joining on. So now that we've done that, we're going to do concat. We're going to do e dot first name, because we want to see the actual name of the employee, not just the employee ID. We're going to do specify the space keyword. We'll just do a space of 1. Go on the other side, do a comma, and then we'll do e dot last name. So now we'll say as full name. Okay, we're good there. And then we're gonna let's give our table value function a actual alias, and we'll call it EF for employees function. We'll say EF dot total sales amount, because it's already summed up inside of a table value function, so we don't have to worry about anything as far as grouping by anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this 2 ways. We're going to format this to make it more readable by using a format and the C, which stands for currency. We're going to actually highlight this column name and place it on the outside. So we have that. And now we can just go ahead and execute this. You know what, actually, let's add an order by on here. And when we order by, we're actually going, since we have a format up here, we're actually going to take the base column that we're dealing with and put it in here, because format is of a varchar type, a data type, I should say, and you'll have an inaccurate order. So let's go ahead and place that there, and we'll do descending. So let's go ahead and execute this. We have 9 employees total, and it's in descending order from highest amount to the lowest amount. So now let's use our query and just specify where. Let's go ahead and get rid of this, and we can just put our where clause on here. We'll just say where EF dot employee ID equals, who should we choose? Let's say 7. Let's see if Ann Donsworth will come up. Dodsworth. Where employee ID equals 7. Put our semicolon there for best practices. And this is the power of a parameter in your table value function. It brought back Robert King. Not quite sure why that brought it back, but well, let's see. You know what? Let's just test it. Let's just test it. Let's see who the first employee ID is. Or better yet, we can just do select from employees E. We can do E dot, we'll just put up the first name because that's what we're more so concerned with. And then we want to also see their employee ID, E dot employee ID. Okie dokie, execute that. Okay. So it makes sense. We put 7 in there and Robert King is 7, so it definitely worked correctly. But as you've seen in descending order, Margaret was the top dog. So we're gonna put where employee ID equals 4. And we should certainly get Margaret back. Margaret Peacock. And this is in the Northwinds database, which is provided by Microsoft. It's free to download. I definitely would advise getting it. This and AdventureWorks, the two most common databases that people typically start off on when they're dealing with SQL. So as you can see, it worked correctly, or you don't have to specify an actual employee ID. You could just do like as we did before, order by EF dot total sales amount descending. You can bring up everyone, or you can put your where clause and omit your order by. You can just do it like this. And don't forget, whenever you're dealing with a format, as I did on our table value function column, you have to not use the actual, you don't have, actually, you don't want to reference the format. So meaning like order by to descending. You actually want to do order by total sales amount like I did in this case, because format is like of a varchar data type. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys have a blessed night. Goodbye.